Hello, MavMind Collective. My name is Maverick Garner, and this is my story of how I became a hypnotist. So when I was about 8 or 9 years old, I was living in California with my sister, my mom and dad, and my dad was, working for a large corporation at the time, and so he was always at the office, and he was traveling, and so my mom was a stay-at-home mom, and she raised my sister and I pretty much by herself. And so when I was about 8 or 9 years old, right in there, I think, I started noticing that she was like becoming very sad all the time. She was very depressed at the time. I wasn't totally sure why. I still don't know totally sure why, but I just know that it got to the point where she was not able to deal with certain situations in her life. So she sought the help of medical professionals at that time and started to go to therapy, and probably once a week, sometimes twice a week. And over the course of 4 or 5 years, I think, or maybe 6, she transformed from this very sad, depressed, anxious, person to like this fun, exciting, exhilarating, enthusiastic person. And it was just an incredible transformation to see what therapy could do for someone. And so she became like almost a perfect mom. And to this day, she's like, I'm so proud of her. She's so successful, and she just is happy. Everyone loves to be around her. She's so happy all the time. But during that time, it was just incredible to see that what she went through to become this new person that she's been ever since. And but I remember one day when I was about 15, maybe 14, she had the shoebox, and I was like, what's in the shoebox, Mom? And she's like, there's those cassette tapes, the kind you put in a cassette player, like a portable cassette player. And I'm like, noticing that there's dates written on in marker, like dates on each one. And I'm like, what are these cassettes? She goes, those are the recordings of that when the therapist would hypnotize me and help me transform over the last few years. And so basically there were all these tapes of all these different hypnotic sessions that she had with her doctor. And I was just like intrigued, like, wow, okay, can I listen to one? And she's like, sure. And I'm like, put it in my portable tape player, and I'm thinking like in the movies, when there's like a hypnotist with a watch, and he's like, look at the watch, and you're getting sleepy, getting deep sleep, that kind of thing. That's what I thought it was. And he kind of, this therapist on this recording just didn't do that at all. He was just like talking to my mom, helping her relax, but having her imagine that she's by a beach, walking next to a beach, or imagine that she's walking down some stairs, or something like that. And it was always like down the stairs, 10, 9, 8, like counting down, or in an elevator and you're watching the numbers 10, 9, 8, 7, like that. It was always just certain patterns I noticed like that were interesting, that I had never heard before. At least I'd never seen that in a movie. And it was just interesting how, as I listened to these patterns, I was like, wow, this is incredible, that this is what helped my mom overcome some of the difficulties she was dealing with, like mentally. And so, I was intrigued by it. But it wasn't until like the next year in high school, or second year in high school, I was in my math class, and I was pretty good at math. I thought I was. Got pretty good grades, but there was a kid in my class that was better, and he always made hundreds and A's on every single test. And you probably all know someone like that, right? So I was sitting next to him one day, and I'm like asking him, like, how do you get hundreds? Like, what are you doing? What's your secret to studying? Like, how are you doing it? And it just surprised me. I still can't believe it to this day how this changed my life. He goes, oh, I hypnotized myself to memorize the formulas. And I'm like, really? Like, I thought you have to go to a therapist. He goes, well, my dad's a therapist. He does it with clients, but he taught me how, and I can do it myself. And I said, like tapes? He goes, yeah, tapes or scripts. I read scripts to myself. You don't have to listen to a tape. As long as you hear even yourself saying the words, reading it, it'll work. And so I'm like, can you teach me how this works? And he totally said yes, and he was like showing me, and went to his house and a couple times, and And he showed me how it was really super easy how you write these scripts, and kind of taught me the patterns, the vocal patterns, speech patterns that put you in a trance. And I was intrigued. So I started checking out books from the library. Of course, back then when I was a kid, 15, 16, we didn't have Amazon or the internet yet. So you had to go to a library and check out a book. So I checked out a couple books every few weeks on hypnotism and hypnosis, and was learning all about it. And then the senior year in high school, that's when it kind of sealed it for me, because I'd been learning about it and I was intrigued of doing my own scripts to help me study, and just like my friend was, and we'd work on it together, and we'd help each other and stuff. It wasn't until the senior year there was a stage hypnotist, a professional stage hypnotist came to our school. Now, again, remember, we didn't have the internet, so you couldn't go search for videos. That just didn't exist back then. The ability to go and search and find videos like you can today, where you can see everybody doing this. So I'd never seen anything like this before. I mean, I thought it was just purely clinical use, like from a therapist at this point. But when I saw the stage hypnotist get up there in our gymnasium, and there was about 600-700 of us in the high school, and he starts telling us that he's going to hypnotize us all at the same time, and that he'll select a few out to come up on stage with him, or out in the gym in some chairs that he had set up. And I'm watching him, and he goes through the speech pattern, and of course I recognize the speech pattern. I see what he's doing. I know, and I'm looking at my friend, and we're like, yeah, we know exactly what he's doing. But when he brought the people on stage and put them in chairs, and like started touching their shoulders and giving them commands and telling them they're going to do some interesting, crazy things, talk in alien, or they'll think their seat is hot, or they'll cluck like a chicken, the classic, the thing that everyone knows about now and is always scared of hypnotists, because, I don't want to cluck like a chicken. But I had never seen this before. So I'm watching them do this, and I'm like, this is fantastic. Like all these friends of mine are up there doing all this crazy stuff. And it was at that moment that I was looking at this guy, and I'm like, that's who I want to be. I want to be that guy. I want to give commands and make people do crazy things, Remember, I was like 15, 16, right? Or maybe 18 by now. So later that year, my friend had a party, one of these kind of where, his parents are gone, and he's like, hey, everybody come on over, those kind of parties where you're like, yeah, we're going to have a total blast. So I went over to his house, and I'd been practicing my hypnosis and practicing, to be that guy, right? Never had a chance to do it until this party. And then I decided I just was going to go for it. And I raised my hand. I said, who wants to be hypnotized? And 6 people raised their hand. And I'm like, great. If you want to be hypnotized, follow me to the back room here. And I went back to my friend's bedroom. And I said, all right, everyone just lay down, relax, get comfortable so I can put you in this trance, and then I'll give you some commands. If you won't do anything you don't want to do, hypnosis is not about manipulating people. It doesn't work that way. You can't make someone do something they don't already want to do. It just lowers inhibition, and the commands will actually get into your subconscious, and if it serves you, you'll go through with it. So I explained all that, and then about 30 minutes later, I put them all in a trance. They're all laying around on the floor and on the bed and stuff. And I'm walking around, and I'm saying, the person I'm touching now, your tongue's going to stick to the roof of your mouth when I say the word peanut butter. And when I say the word unstick, your tongue will come off of you and become unstuck. And when I say remember, you'll remember that I gave you this command to do all of this, but not until I say remember. And then I went to the next person. I'm like, the person I'm touching now, your seat will get very hot, so hot you can't sit in that seat anymore, and you won't allow anyone else to sit in that seat. When I say the word hot, all this will happen. When I say the word hot, your seat will become hot, and all of this will happen. And when I say cool, the seat will cool down. And when I say remember, you'll remember that I gave you this command, and you'll realize that all of this was a command I'd given you during this hypnosis, but not until I say the word remember. So I did some different commands like this for each of the 6 people. And then we brought them back out, counted from like 1 to 10, brought them out, and then said, all right, everybody come and let's get back into the party. And then I just let them go on and just visit around and, talk with their friends and stuff. And about an hour later, I just suddenly said, wow, you know what? I really feel like I could go for a peanut butter sandwich right now. Just said it like that. And then the guy that I gave him the command for his tongue to stick to the roof of his mouth, suddenly started talking like this. He couldn't say anything. And everybody starts laughing, and he's like really like, I can't get my tongue. Like he really was like, couldn't figure out why his tongue was sticking to the roof of his mouth. And I was just like, wow, this totally works. This is amazing. Like I had a doubt, like maybe it wouldn't work, but it totally worked. And so I was like eager to like, okay, unstick. And then he's like, and he literally went like this. Wow, what happened? And he couldn't figure it out. And I said, remember. And then he goes, oh yeah, okay, you gave me the command, duh. And he was like so embarrassed. And it was like, I just couldn't believe it. Like all the things I practiced, it totally worked. So then I immediately went to like, wow, man, it's getting hot in here. It's getting so hot in here. And the next guy jumps out of his chair. Oh my gosh, this chair is so hot. Nobody sit on there. Please don't sit on there. And someone would sit, or I'd go try to sit. He's like, no, don't sit. This is going to burn yourself. This is really hot. Like, I can't believe, I don't know why. What's going on here? He was freaking out. So I said, hey man, it's cool, man. It's okay. It's cool. And then he goes, oh, okay. And he's like, okay, it's not hot anymore. Wow. And I said, remember. And then he goes, oh, that's what you wanted me to do. Okay. And he remembered that I'd given him the command. So it was just amazing. So I did this with all the different people, and did it at parties since, after that, and during college I did it a couple times. And I just decided a few years ago that since I had done the stage hypnotism back then in high school, my version of it, didn't get paid to do it, just did it for fun. But I also over the years started taking it more seriously and actually helping people to, stop smoking and stop overeating and have more confidence. And, the same things I was writing scripts for me, the things I was using it for my benefit, I started helping other people with it as well. And then a few years ago, I decided to go ahead and sign up and get certified, and got my certification, got formal training, and went through all of the motions and passed all the tests. And so now I do it on the side for anyone that could use some help with whatever they're trying to do in their life. I think it's important that we all, as we get older, we give back and help. So that's what I do. So anyway, that's my story. If you found value in that story, please subscribe. Even if you thought it was kind of lame, leave feedback. Let me know how lame that was. But I just I'm hoping that if you're part of the MavMind collective now, or if you want to join, you can see more videos as I put them out, or take my courses, or read my books, or whatever on hypnosales, which is basically what I use it now. And that's another video, is how I use it in my sales, and how I've used it and helped others to use hypnosis during their sales motions, during their sales process. It's very important. Most salespeople don't know that they're hypnotists already. They just don't know it. If you're a salesperson, you're watching this, or you want to be a salesperson, it's probably because you're already a hypnotist. You just don't know it yet. And that's what I figured out over 25 years or more of doing this, that hypnosis is part of all of our lives. And I'm so happy that I was able to discover hypnosis at a very young age and practice it and make it a part of my life. And I'm hoping now you might also want to make it a part of your life too, because it can only help you. Anyway, my name's Maverick. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great rest of the day.